Let's start by addressing a common misconception. The professionals who are the most confident and the most successful are not the ones who necessarily have all of the experience or the ones who have an instant answer for everything. Instead, the people who are confident and successful consistently are the ones who have a system and a set of tools that they trust to get to the right answer over and over again. Plus, they know how to explain their thought process to other people. Today, I'm going to share one of my favorite decision-making tools, the decision matrix. I have used this tool in a lot of different ways, whether I'm tackling a big project at work or in my personal life, choosing between job offers or even which house to pick to live in. What makes the decision matrix so powerful is its flexibility. So today we're going to start and we're going to look at it in its classic form. And then we're also going to talk about how you can use the decision matrix as more of a framework and apply it in less formal situations as well. It really is a perfect tool for breaking down complex decisions into manageable pieces and diving deep into what really matters in your choice. Hi there, I'm Jamie, and I'm here to transform how you work. I'm the founder of Career Brilliance, where we help people boost their business savvy and cross more things off their to-do list so they can fast track their path to professional leadership and enjoy their workday more. If that sounds good to you, be sure to like this video and hit subscribe. Okay, so what is a decision matrix? It is a tool that helps you make a decision by evaluating all of the possible options for that particular decision through the lens of specific criteria. It's perfect for situations where you need to weigh multiple factors that are all contributing to how you need to make this decision. It uses a system of scoring and weights so you can objectively compare these different choices against the different criteria. So there are 5 steps to building and using a decision matrix. Step 1 is to list out all of your options. For our example today, we're going to be looking at a variety of job offers that you have. And so in this step, we would just list out job offer 1, job offer 2, and job offer 3. The second step is we're going to identify the different criteria that we want to consider when we are making this decision. So for our job offer example, we're going to look at things like salary, growth opportunities, work-life balance, and location. The third step is that you're going to assign weights to these different criteria based on which ones matter the most to you. You can assign these weights however makes sense to you, but for our example today, we're going to use a 1 through 5 scale, with a 5 being most important and a 1 being least important. So for our example, we're going to say that salary is a 5 out of 5. This is as important as it gets. Growth opportunities are also important, but we're going to scale that as a 4 out of 5. Work-life balance is a 3, and location is a 2. Step 4 is to score each option based on these different criteria. So we're going to look at job offer 1 and we're going to give it a score for salary, work-life balance, growth opportunities, and location. The same thing for job offer 2, etc., etc. And then step number 5 is that we're going to multiply those scores that we came up with in step 4 by the weights that we assigned in step 3. After a little bit of math and adding all of those up, each option is going to end up with a final score, and that tells you objectively which one best meets your criteria. So this structured approach really helps to remove bias from the process and provide some clarity, especially in these complex situations. Okay, so let's look at a real example. I'm going to share my screen and walk you through our example. Okay, so here we have our handy dandy spreadsheet that has all of the information that we have talked about for our decision matrix. So as you can see, we have our different options over here, job offer 1, 2, and 3. Across the top, we have our different criteria, salary, growth opportunities, work-life balance, and location. And we have assigned our weights, and this is actually different than what we talked about, so I'm going to adjust these. Okay, so this matches what we talked about earlier for our weights. And now our last step is to assign scores. So for this example, our score range is 1 through 10. So 1 is on the lowest end and 10 is the best score. So as we go through this, let's say job offer 1 has an 8 out of 10 for salary, but only a 4 out of 10 for growth opportunities. Work-life balance is maybe a 6, and location is a 10. So the score that you'll see here is just multiplying all of these different options by the weights and adding them together. So if we come through here, we got a great salary, we have great growth opportunities, but bad work-life balance and an average location. And we have kind of an average salary, great growth opportunities, awesome work-life balance, and the location is neutral. Okay, so our highlighting here is just showing which one is top score, next highest score, and lowest score. So if we were to go purely based on the objective data here, we would say job offer 3 is the one that we would accept. Job offer 2 is in second place, and job offer 1 is in last place. Okay, so as you can see from that example, there is a lot of benefit to taking a purely objective approach to this decision making. However, most of the decisions that we make happen in less of a formal situation. So let's say that you are working with a client or a stakeholder on a decision that needs to be made. You can really effectively facilitate a conversation following these exact same 5 steps to help them understand their needs, priorities, and preferences. Often when we need to make a big decision, it's really easy to get bogged down in all of the details. So following this structure can really help them articulate what is on their mind so you can come to a good decision together. It also gives you both the opportunity to challenge any previously unstated assumptions or constraints now that they are on paper. So again, facilitating this conversation looks a lot like putting together a formal matrix, but you'd start by just listing out what are all of the different options that you're aware of. You'll want to leave room for adding any new options as the conversation unfolds as well. Next, you'll discuss what criteria are at play. This is where you'll dig into what really matters for making this decision. And remember throughout this process that not all criteria are created equally. Ask questions like, if you had to pick between these 2 priorities, which one would win and why? What are the must-haves? What are the nice-to-haves? What are the constraints? What would make one option better than another one? This is really your opportunity to get everything out on the table. These conversations, these questions will often reveal insights that otherwise might have remained hidden. And pro tip, throughout this entire process, keep asking the question, what might be missing? This simple question can unlock perspectives that you hadn't considered otherwise. And the last step in this less formal approach to your decision making is to go through and score all of the options based on the different criteria. Again, this doesn't have to be super structured, and it can look like more of a discussion of pros and cons, but the real value comes from the discussion as you work through each of the options systematically. By the end of this conversation, you'll have more than just a decision. You'll have a clear record of how you got there and a deep understanding of why you made the decision that you did. This is incredibly valuable when you need to explain the decision to other people or if you need to revisit the decision later on. The magic isn't just in getting to a final decision or finding the right answer. It's the structured conversation that gets you there. This approach to this conversation helps people feel seen and understood while making sure that no important consideration gets overlooked. All right, so that is a decision matrix and how to use it. If you liked these tips, be sure to check out my free on-demand masterclass, How to Write Emails That Actually Get Answered. You can find the link to that in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.